Are you ready to vote? Visit MN.
Adrian gets the carry, and he's loose! Parisi winds and scores! Puckett swings and hits a blast! Deep left center, way back, touch 'em all, Kirby Puckett! Lob it to Garnett, beneath the foul line, the fadeaway with a hand in his face, and the end for the win! Yes!
This is Sidelines on your sound and sports alternative, KVSC.
Welcome to Sidelines, my favorite part of my Friday morning where I get to sit along with the KVSC boys and talk a little bit about sports. Guys, we are starting off. We got our dreams came true. Well, AJZ's dreams came true. The Cubs made the World Series. We're going to talk about the World Series, but of course I'm going to introduce who I have on the panel today. Of course, coming back with us is Sauce Man and his twins get up this morning, as well as Thomas, Leif, and of course our Cubs fan, AJZ. Now, like I said, guys, we are going to start by talking about the World Series. I'm going to recap the first couple games, and we're going to get right into it, talking about Game 3 that starts at Wrigley Field tonight at 7. Talking a little bit about the first game. Cleveland takes that game opener 6-0. I think we had everyone's crying that morning. John Lester struggled with the Cubs as well as coming back, though, the next day. Cubs even the series 5-1. Guys, where are we at with this World Series? They're tied up. Where are we going with this?
Well, like you were talking about, going into Game 1, John Lester, he came into the game as the hottest pitcher in the postseason, carrying a reputation of also being one of the best pitchers ever in the World Series alone. Going into the game, he led the entire MLB history with a .43 ERA through his first 3 World Series starts. That's unbelievable. And then he goes ahead and walks 2 guys in the first, loads up the bases, can't really find control. He goes ahead, gives up 2 runs easily, and that goes ahead. And, I mean, that's going to set up Cleveland for success in that game. But then, like you were talking about, second game, Cubs take it, but it's all because Kyle Schwarber's back in the lineup. The guy brings a huge bat to the roster in the batting order, and it's unfortunate for them that he isn't going to be able to play in the field here at Wrigley, just because that DH won't be there. They have the pitchers go ahead and batting, but he's not cleared because of that injury that he had earlier in the season. He's going to be a pinch hitter, so it'll be interesting to see just how they kind of use him in what scenarios, but I still think that the Cubs roster up and down the lineup is going to be rock solid.
Well, this is my question. Is this going to hurt Cleveland, having their pitchers hit?
I mean, obviously, you never know. Obviously, to switch the NL to AL, I mean, it's
right.
Been debated all throughout.
How big of an issue is this for Cleveland?
I mean, it comes down if they can bunt, I guess, good. Or I mean, it's obviously taking a bat out of them, which could hurt them. I mean, they've dominated mostly on their bullpen, relying because they haven't scored except for the Game 1 past the 6th inning.
Right. Well, not only are they going to have the pitchers, like Cleveland coach said, he said, it's us against America. Everyone is cheering for the Cubs. Now they're at Wrigley Field. Everyone who's been to Wrigley Field knows how close those fans get to the players. Who's got the upper hand in this game?
Well, I mean, coming into Game 3 here, you have Josh Tomlin on the mound, and something of note here, his dad, for the first time since he was paralyzed from the neck down in August, is watching Josh Tomlin pitch today. So Tomlin is going to have that going for him. This is a huge game. I mean, it's Game 3. You're tied 1-1. You're in Wrigley. This is the game. If you're the Cleveland baseball organization, you want to win this game because now you have the upper hand. You have to win one in Wrigley so that the clincher isn't that final game in Wrigley before you head back to Progressive. The thing with Tomlin, though, going against Cleveland, he's really only has one pitch, and that one pitch is a curveball that he gets hitters to swing out of the zone almost 45% of the time. The Cubs swing out of the zone. They're 1 through 5 hitters. They all swing out of the zone about 32% of the time, which means that they kind of struggle with breaking pitches. If the ball is out of the strike zone, they tend to swing and miss a little bit more than other teams. So for Tomlin, it's definitely going to be, he needs to get the curveball working tonight to beat Hendricks.
Right away.
And we're going back to when Bobby said, Terry Francona said, it's Cleveland against America. It's Cleveland against, everyone's
Everybody.
rooting for the Cubs. I don't even buy it because every time Cleveland makes it somewhere, whether it be the Cavs or the or the baseball team or whatever it may be, they're always like Cleveland against the world. It's Cleveland against the world. It really doesn't make any sense. And I mean, I get it. And
you might have to see this one on this side.
Yeah, but I was watching SportsCenter the other day, and someone goes, "If you're not from Cleveland, then where are you from?" And like, "Oh, Cleveland's the best thing that ever happened in the United States." I'm over it. I'm so sick and tired of hearing of Cleveland. Believeland have their own E60. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about them. I'm so ready for Cleveland to just not win another championship for 50 some more years. 'Cause I'm so sick and tired.
All right,
of
let's
listening.
have
especially
your
with LeBron going back and this whole. It's so annoying.
I think the best way to think about this is it's now a 5-game series with the Cubs having home field advantage.
Right.
The home field advantage thing I hate, just because, last year the All-Star game, American League won, just because some San Diego pitcher gave up a home run to a Kansas City Royals player. That's why the Cubs don't get home field advantage. That doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't impact how it is. Best record should get home field advantage. But nevertheless, Cubs pick up one on the road, and now they're in the driver's seat for sure.
That's all they need to pick up.
Exactly.
Is one on the road.
Yeah. Now, I mean, at Wrigley, it's going to be electric. If they can, I wouldn't be surprised if they go 3 straight. I don't think we'll need a game 6 and 7, but I'm not going to knock it because Cleveland's a tough ball club to play against for sure.
Yeah. Obviously, I see if Chicago's bats are cold, that's going to be their Achilles heel. Because obviously in Game 1, Kluber was outstanding. He set a record of 8 strikeouts in 3 innings. I mean, he was outstanding. I mean, his slider was unhittable. I mean, that's when this whole postseason for Chicago struggles and how they've lost games and have kept the series close is because their bats have not been alive. They have not capitalized with runners in scoring position. And when they get chances like this Game 1, 7th inning, bases loaded, 0 outs, they didn't score. So that's Chicago's Achilles heel. If they can get the high runs in, then guaranteed Chicago will win this ball game.
I don't even think you can consider Game 1 a game. I don't even consider it a game. There's so much going on in Cleveland at that time with the Cavs getting their ring, and
that's what I want to get to. I don't want to cut you guys short on the World Series, but we have to because we're trying to hit a lot of topics today. There's so much going on. I know the World Series is huge right now, but the funniest thing about Tuesday night is that not just the World Series was going on, but 30 yards across the street was the Cavaliers were granted their rings.
Yeah, because it's Cleveland against the world.
There we go. Well, unless
corner.
you're not a Cleveland fan. My question here is, what was bigger? Was it bigger for LeBron James and the Cavaliers to get their first win for Cleveland or the World Series taking place? Which game was bigger that night?
He won the ring 4 or 5 months ago. It doesn't matter right now. Of course, the Cleveland baseball being in the World Series for the first time since '97 was probably the biggest thing easily that night.
I go back to how much hype there is around that Cavs team, how much hype there is with LeBron coming back, Northeast Ohio, all this stuff. Personally, I think the NBA rings were a bigger deal for Cleveland. I mean, yes, they're rallying around the baseball team. We get it. They're in the World Series. But that basketball team, they live and die with that in Ohio. They're all about that. So I think the rings are a big deal just because when LeBron came back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, it was such a big deal.
Right.
It was the biggest deal, the big announcement, leaving and then coming back, burning the jersey. I mean, if you watch SportsCenter, that carries about 50 minutes of the hour show, which is ridiculous, but it did. So I think.
So your take is that the World Series should have been bigger.
It should have been bigger, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. But I want to know what you guys thought. Obviously, SportsCenter being in front of.
Quicken Loan Center.
Quicken Loan Center.
Arena,
I mean,
instead of being,
they're not even covering. I think they were covering more of the NBA, anyways. But for them to be in front of Quicken Loan Center and not in front of the World Series, that's when my question's developing. What to you guys is more important?
Well, for that, I mean, I can't really knock ESPN and SportsCenter covering that just because Fox and Fox Sports won kind of the broadcasting rights to the World Series for that Game 1, and so I mean, there's not much they can do about it. So they have to try to get themselves the ratings they want, and that's the biggest thing that they could do that night, and I totally understand that. But Sauce is totally right here. I think the rings was bigger, but it should have definitely been the World Series.
Yes.
The World Series is a great phenomenon. A 162-game season, and it comes down to 7 games, and you guys get to host the first game of it. That should for sure be the biggest thing going on that day, let alone the week or month.
All right,
keep going. But it's it's unbelievable. You haven't made it back to there since 1997, and you haven't won the World Series since way before that.
All right, I'm gonna disagree actually with both of you. This is where I take it. I say when you're a winner, Cleveland has not won this World Series. If they won, I think that'd be a different story. Of course, Cavaliers won. They're the winners. I think that whoever won, who's the winner of Cleveland right now, is the Cavaliers. I 100% agree that was a bigger deal. Why? Because they've never won an NBA championship, right?
Yeah, but that happened 4 months ago.
Yeah, just like
Well,
I said.
And maybe it was bad timing. I don't know, but it was the first game for them too. I don't know. But I would say if it was between those two things, would you guys go with who won it or who's in it? Yay, they're in it. That's awesome for a World Series. But if they don't win, who goes back to being a bigger deal?
Live in the moment, not the past. I mean,
So-
Yeah, amen to that.
I mean, you got to. Sure, they already won. You already cheered for them. You rooted them on. They know they did a great job. You don't need to be there for them when they just get their jewelry.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how awkward that is, though, probably for Amon Shumpert and J.R. Smith to get those right in front of Melo's face?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I did second guess that when I saw that the other night. But I think the NBA, they just started Tuesday night, so we've got a lot of stuff to talk about further down the road. But I want to know NBA predictions. We saw the Warriors have one of the worst games I think a lot of us expected to have. What are your guys' NBA predictions for this year? Sauceman.
That's not a big deal. The Warriors losing.
Well, it's a big deal to me. I'm a huge Stephen Curry fan, so.
The big thing
out,
about
bud.
it is it's the first game they've played together legitimately. They played in the preseason, but it's the preseason. If they miss a bunch of shots, oh well, it's the preseason. There's some hype about it. But the thing is with this is they played the Spurs. They played San Antonio, which is a great team, a great organization, and they have a great coach.
Yeah,
And
when you got 4 players on that Warriors team that all are used to averaging 26, 27 points a game, and they're letting a 30-point deficit go between them. How does that happen? 4 guys who are so used to scoring so many points. How are they so bad?
It
is my
definitely takes
question.
time to mesh them together. Look at the USA basketball team. They had 8 guys on that team that were unbelievable, and they still only beat a couple teams around the world by 3. when they
Miami
should-
Heat in the early goings too.
Exactly.
bring that back
and
up.
and the Miami Heat. Like, these guys need time. They're so good, yes, but they need time to mesh with one another, and I think that's what happened. It's the first night.
Right.
It's not really a big deal. They told everybody they do not care about their record as long as they can perform in the playoffs.
And I'll give it that too. And anyone who knows basketball knows that you can't have 4 shooters. You can't have 4 guys going into the game thinking they're going to score 26 points, 28 points, because that's not going to happen. And that's when teams lose, when they don't pass the ball around. So I think this Warriors team, when I was watching it, they got to develop some roles on this team. Do you guys agree? Kevin Love for the Timberwolves, how much points did he average at the Timberwolves? Around 25, 26 points?
Yeah.
Okay, when he left to go to
Cleveland.
Yeah, excuse me. I don't know why I didn't think of that. He stepped down. He was scoring, not as many points because he was wanting to win and play a role. So I think this Warrior team has got to develop roles. These 4 guys can't come into the game thinking, I'm going to score all the points, because it's not going to happen, and they're going to see what they just saw, losing by 30 points every single game, and I'll call it right now.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin Love was not scoring points because it was his role. I think he just was not that good.
Yeah,
I think it was just more of like the chemistry. He didn't fit in with
Yeah.
the LeBron and Kyrie kind of like.
He was
Right.
playing with the best player
mojo.
in the world.
Yeah.
Of course, but he could chuck up as many shots as he chucked up with the Timberwolves is what I'm saying, but he understood his role.
Yeah,
He
they
understood
didn't
that.
need him to.
Right.
Yeah.
So someone on this Warrior team has got to see that and step down and say, you know what, I'm okay with 10, 16 points a game and not the 26 I'm normally used to. But moving on to, we're not going to spend a ton of time on the NBA just because it just started on Tuesday night. So we're going to move towards football, because I know we all love to talk about football, and there's lots of debates. But one sad thing I think we all saw was our Vikings.
Wait, you guys said they were easily going to win.
Yeah,
I'm
late.
going to
I'm
give a
glad
little
you're
trash
here.
to Billy because he said the Eagles were trash and they were going to beat them by over 40 or something like that. But
Yeah, I'm glad that you're here wearing, of course, your Packers jersey once again. But
Boo.
guys, I want to talk about this big upset. Was it an upset?
Yeah, no, it was an upset, Bobby. The Vikings team coming into this 5-0, undefeated. They're supposed to be, the top ranked team, power ranked. They're on top of the world going into that week. Then against the Eagles, who they started off very hot, 3-0. They dropped 2 games to I think teams they probably could have and should have beaten, but then they go ahead. The defense, I think they didn't play awful. I mean, the defense showed why they're good. I mean, there was a little bit less more to desire there. It was just the offensive line that killed the Vikings.
Yeah,
Right.
The offensive line was absolutely garbage. They cost us that game. I mean, you look at this game right now.
He says wearing a Colts shirt.
I'm an Andrew Luck fan. Calm down.
He is. And I know that you're a diehard Vikings fan, too. So get
thank
some
you.
stats. I want to hear some stats.
There were 47 plays that Sam Bradford was dropping back to throw the football. on those 47, or pardon me, on the Vikings offense, 47 plays, he dropped back. No, he did drop back 47 times. 20 of those, he was under pressure. Only 11, he was blitzed. His quarterback rating was 16.4 when he was pressured. So 11 times he was blitzed. The offensive line, more often than not, was facing a 4-man rush from Philadelphia. They couldn't stop a fly with a barn.
So I'm guessing
It
that's
was
where his
horrible.
frustrations came from.
I've never heard
Your
that. I
whole-
like that.
I like
I
that.
like that a lot.
I haven't heard that one either before. But I'm guessing that's where Sam Bradford's frustration came when he said, I need more time. He's not going to produce if he doesn't have enough time. And what do we think about Wentz, though? I don't think he had a great performance
Well,
either.
both sides were
Both offenses
sloppy.
were terrible.
I mean, you got
Yeah.
if you would have told me 8 turnovers would have happened in the first half, I would have said that's crazy. No, but obviously on both teams didn't capitalize. The Eagles could capitalization on the turnovers. I mean, Minnesota Vikings, 9:40 in the first quarter. They had an interception. They brought down the 2-yard line, and then Bradford throws an error throw and it's an interception. I mean, at least you get points. And then again, you get another fumble recovery inside the 20, and yet Bradford gets strip fumbled again, and then you get another interception. At least that's 9 points the Vikings should have had, at least, going into that. So offensively as a whole, yes, you could blame their offensive line, though, but like I said, Bradford a little bit, he forced that first one throw in the end zone where it was bad and threw error right to the safety.
This was definitely bound to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's the Minnesota Vikings. It was definitely just bound to happen.
Everyone underestimated this Eagles defense a little bit. I mean,
They were
look what
they
they did
were
to Pittsburgh.
unstoppable. They were
30-6 they beat them. Ben Roethlisberger was getting bullied all over, sacked at least 6 times, and he was not comfortable.
Well, especially when you got a guy like Brandon Graham on the D line for the Eagles.
Yeah, Fletcher Cox, too.
Yeah, and those two guys just tear it up. They're phenomenal at their job, and they, all the money to their contract is well spent by the Eagles organization. They just, like you were saying, they just bullied the opposing quarterback for the full entirety of the game. I mean, they'd have no time at all. It's snap, 2 steps in a drop back, and then I have to find a receiver.
Right. I guess my question for a bunch of you guys, since you guys are all guys that played football before, is when a coach after a game comes into the locker room and tells you guys you're soft, how is the team going to react? For a girl, it's a
Locker room
different
talk.
story. But what is it when you come in there and they say that to you? You're a soft team. What is your mindset?
I mean, I'd be
You're a bunch of
ticked off.
babies. What are we
Well,
doing?
but
I mean,
you just gotta man
the
up.
best thing that ESPN said is, "Ouch! You do not say that to an to a NFL football team. They have so much pride. They are handing over the helmet to Zimmer. You go get them. That is, I think, one of the worst things I would think that you could say to an NFL football team. And I got to ask you guys who played football.
They'll just bring their egos down a little bit, which is probably really good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
so is it a kick in the butt, or is it
I mean,
like?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you want to coddle them and say, "Oh, guys, we lost, but we're still the better team.
At least
blah,
you
blah."
tried.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to sugarcoat it.
Just
You want to
give
get them
a nice
directly.
golf clap.
Right.
You want to
No.
get them a directed judgment. Yeah, you guys played like crap, and you need to know that because obviously you got to take that momentum and get ticked off and bring it back and bring your A game on Sunday or Monday and go back to work and use it and play obviously better the next game.
Especially playing the Bears coming up. There's no team in the NFC that's not going to play good against another NFC
No,
team.
any NFC team will give you the hardest battle. Like, look at Green Bay last year. We lost every home game to all the NFC North teams. Obviously, there's no given in that because everyone is still going to be fighting, and it's going to be a mystery or a toss-up. So there's no guaranteed NFC North win.
So this was to light something under them to get them going.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't think these Vikings took anything away from that?
It's
little
Mike
frustration?
Zimmer. He's never going to say anything to offend
Yeah.
anybody. Let's be real.
Yeah.
They respect him so much, they're going to be like, all right, that just means we need to go.
Yeah,
just
they
gonna-
love him to death in that.
Yeah.
Well,
He's gonna throw in a big wadded red man and just kind of go sit in his office.
Exactly.
I mean, hopefully their preparation is a little bit better this week because obviously you had 2 weeks to prepare this Eagles team.
That's where I'm
You had a
coming from.
bye week. I mean, come on. That was poor by the players, and that's poor on the coaching staff. You have 2 weeks to watch film on them. You can obviously watch them through the first 4 weeks to see how Wentz is, how his defense is, and yet you still come out and lay an egg. I mean, I don't know what excuse you have when you have 2 weeks to prepare.
Well,
for
guys,
this.
and those comments are coming from a Green Bay Packer fan, so I don't know. What
It
do you think
stings.
about that? AJ?
It makes sense. Like they need to play better than that, plain and simple.
The thing is,
you're an
but they
NFL
are better than that.
They
is the
are
thing.
better than that, yes.
I don't know if it was the bye week that just kind of rattled them or what it was. They just came out slow. They didn't look like a team that was a 5-0 team. They look
Their
they look
defense
they
did.
look like the Bears, honestly.
Well,
The only thing that showed up was their defense,
Yeah.
pretty much. I mean, they didn't do terrible. They helped them with turnovers, and like I said, passing yards, they didn't allow Wentz to do was too terrible. too well, I should say. But then anything else, no one showed up.
Right. Well, we'll obviously get to see where this team's at come this week when they play against the Chicago Bears. You know, what does this matchup look like between them? I know Zimmer says in a couple press conferences how every time they go there, they struggle.
For some reason, Jay Cutler just has the Vikings number every time they're at Soldier Field. Him and Alshon Jeffrey, who's a monster, just ball out every single time they face the Vikings at Soldier Field, and it's unbelievable. I'm at a loss for words.
Right.
Every time they play, just because it's like, oh, we walk into there, we should be fine, even though we're 500 or we're 4-6 heading into it or something like that. I still know we're better than the Bears, and then they go out and they make it way closer than it needs to be.
Right, every year it seems to be happening for the Vikings. But another debate that's really been going around are these rookie quarterbacks. We got Carson Wentz, who just played the Vikings, obviously, and Dak Prescott, who we talked about for a very long time last week. Two rookie quarterbacks doing pretty well right now. We got Dak Prescott, he's 5-1. Where are these two rookie quarterbacks? Who's better? Because these two face off this weekend. Those two.
I guess we'll find out who's better.
Well, right now. right now.
I think Dak's gonna be in better hands. His line is way better.
Okay.
No.
That's where I'm looking with that. But I'm really happy that him and Ezekiel Elliott, two rookies in the backfield. I kind of like it. I'm not a big Cowboys fan, but I kind of like it. They got a big line.
I would agree with that. AJ?
You're wrong. You're not. That's it's. You can compare them, but they're not anywhere close. I mean, sure, you can look at the stats through the first 6 games. Prescott has a 84 QBR with 68 completion percentage, 7-1 ratio TD interceptions. When you look at Wentz's 50.8 QBR, 63% completion, and then it's a 8-3 TD to interception. But when you look at what he has for depth and what he has to utilize, he has Zeke compared to Ryan Matthews. He has Jason Witten compared to Zach Ertz. Des Bryant compared to Jordan Matthews. He's so set up for success, and especially behind that offensive line. That's a Pro Bowl offensive line 9 out of 10 years.
I think that's why he's going to be more successful, though.
Yeah, but who's better?
Who's better?
It's who's better. It's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz with this Eagles offense has propelled them to, what is it, a 4-2 start now?
Yes.
4-2.
The question is, who is better?
If he has any if he has any of the guys that Dak Prescott has, they're 6-0.
Yeah.
If he is at least one of those guys, Carson Wentz is the better rookie quarterback out of these two.
Yeah, I mean, for Wentz, his top receiver, Jordan Matthews, drops 2 of every 3 passes thrown to him, too. So he has a lot of incompletions coming just from his receivers dropping passes. They dropped a lot of passes against the Vikings. Long term, you like Wentz. In this game, though, I think I have Dak. Because like AJ said, he just has a talent around him and that Wentz doesn't.
Right, and we could talk about this all day too, just like we did last weekend. Another debate. I know they're saying, and we won't get into this because I know that will take another hour. But they're saying that Eli Manning, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, are those two going to be relevant to Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott? Are they relatable someday? Do they have potential? We will not get into
I don't think we even need to. It's a big no.
Don't worry, we won't.
It's unanimous. Let's move on.
We don't have time because I already see some emotions coming from Thomas over there. But we are going to head into college football, okay? Big Ten. We got a huge game this weekend. Nebraska. They are undefeated. I don't know if anyone would have thought of that.
That's a week 7-0.
Yes, if you look at their scheduling.
Well, and they play Wisconsin. Okay, everyone's going to say that scheduling. That's the first thing I think
yes.
everyone's
Well, I mean,
going to say.
what else are you going to look at?
All right. Well, where do the best players go? Do you think the best players are looking at Nebraska? Are they? No. There's no way they are.
Well, yeah. Since 2010, they've only had one first-round selection in the NFL draft.
So for a team that has,
they're not going to have the skilled players.
Right, so the team that has probably kind of I wouldn't say obviously average players, but not the top guys who are 7-0. You got to hand them something.
I'll hand them a pat. I'll shake their hand. I mean, congratulations. You beat a bad Oregon team by 3. You beat Northwestern. You beat a
Purdue team that's 3-4.
You beat Illinois.
Northwestern.
Great.
Okay, yes, everyone's underestimating them, but if you look at the rest of the schedule, like AJ said, Oregon, they barely beat a 3-4 Purdue team. They were close throughout the whole entire game. Yeah. 3-4.
All right, well, they're playing against...
compared to Wisconsin, they played 4 matchups in the top 10. LSU, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, 3 of those games back-to-back. I mean, scheduling-wise, does not compare to Wisconsin.
So this weekend, you're saying no doubt Wisconsin takes this game?
Oh, for sure.
And it's a big game. Saturday.
Huge game.
Saturday at 6, and it's 2 Big Ten teams who are ranked pretty high, and Wisconsin always plays good in big games.
I mean, it's going to be a big state game for Wisconsin because, you know, in the Western Big Ten West standings, if they beat Nebraska, they get the tiebreaker, and then Nebraska goes to Ohio State. I mean, obviously, that's going to be a tough matchup, and they're going to be ticked off because, obviously, they got upset. But if they lose, they're tied in the Big Ten West, and Wisconsin's a tiebreaker. They could come out ahead, and they could go in the Big Ten Championship in Indianapolis.
Right.
What Nebraska is this year, it's like every year you get the team that starts off this hot, and then they always cry, oh, why doesn't anybody care about us? It's because you have a bad schedule. You don't play anybody good.
Yeah.
Sounds
All
like
Nebraska has
Iowa
going
last
for
year.
him is tradition.
Well,
Yeah.
Literally.
And I guess
No, you're totally right.
if you're on that team, you're hoping let's play some big teams and we'll show them. I
They
mean,
need-
that's what they're
Well,
thinking.
schedule some then.
Yeah, they need to
So,
schedule some.
I mean,
I think it's gonna be Wisconsin. Do you guys
All right.
agree?
Yes.
All
Hands down.
perfect.
Everyone, I'm going with Nebraska. Everyone else is Wisconsin.
I'm going Nebraska too.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah,
We got.
I mean,
thank you
alright.
for someone siding with me. I'm gonna have to bring someone in one of these days to
Yeah.
have someone side with me.
I got a feeling Tommy
Have
Armstrong
fun
is
finding
going to
them.
go off.
Boys against girls over here, I'm telling you. But guys, another thing too, it's
Rough.
That's
rough.
Of course, Thomas is taking my
Shots
side.
fired.
Of course, Thomas is taking my side. But no, another thing too is 8 of the undefeated teams all take the road this weekend. On Tuesday, I think coming up is when the first the committee comes together, decides on those the playoffs, right?
Yep.
So this weekend is huge for college football, and I think it's huge for especially Nebraska, a team that you guys said doesn't play many teams. So to get a win against Wisconsin is going to be huge. But another game I want to look at is Clemson. They're 7-0 and they are playing Florida State. Yes, Florida State is 5-2. But
Florida
anyone,
who?
No,
Florida State.
Yeah.
Florida State so overrated.
They are.
this year.
They
So
are.
you're saying that
They were like number
Clemson-
2 to begin the year.
Oh, that's right. You're the Clemson fan. I keep forgetting. So
But it's Florida State.
Yeah.
They were like number 3 when Lamar Jackson ran all over them, and
Yeah.
they're still
But
just
you-
got destroyed,
Uh-huh.
and they still think they should be top 10.
But you got to realize in Florida right now, this is like their Christmas Eve. This is the biggest event they're going to have this year for football there. They're bringing their fans. They're getting hyped. Sometimes I think, honestly, a college football game can change with different energy levels, with different crowds, with different excitement. I think it's going to be a closer one than people expect.
Well, it's too bad they're going to be getting coal for Christmas then, because Clemson is going to roll over them.
All right.
It's
It's going to be a close game, I think.
It's ridiculous.
But Clemson, I think they'll handle it. First half, it might be a little bit, holy crap, they were underestimating them, but then they'll get the business and do the usual
Clemson's
stuff, get
played
the
in
win.
the national championship last year. I
Yeah.
don't think a Florida State crowd is gonna,
All right, so
Right on
what
too
I'm
much.
getting
Yeah.
at right now is you guys are all Clemson, and I'm, of course, Florida State. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
Now it's
Clemson's got the
guys
ninth,
versus
ninth
girls.
best defense in the nation, and then
All right.
Deshaun Watson is a beast. He'll just score at will.
All right,
It's
all right.
definitely going to be Clemson all the way.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll talk about that next Friday here on Sidelines.
Yeah, we'll see
Show
what happens.
Right at 12:30. But before we end the show, we got to talk about our NHL. That's going on right now, and I know we got some big hockey fans. I want to talk about this Wild team. Off to a pretty good start. Where do you guys see this Wild team going?
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing really good hockey. Really good hockey, especially in the penalty kill.
Who saw this coming?
Yeah, they're second in the NHL right now for goals scored.
Yeah.
Plus my differential, like goals against goals scored, is only 9. But still, I mean, if they're winning, who really cares? League leading penalty kill through the first week of the season, 95.8%. That's unbelievable.
That's a big improvement from last year, which
Yeah.
which is huge.
So
They
is
really
this a
faltered last
coaching?
year.
Is this a coaching thing that we needed a new coach to get this team going, or why is this team all of a sudden sparking?
I think it's just they finally got.
Counts on the gel, I guess.
Yeah, they really got that. But Bruce Boudreau is great in the regular season. You've seen that throughout his career. That's why he has such a good overall record in his career.
Right.
It's the first round of the playoffs that really kind of gets him. But when you look at it, 20 different guys have tallied a goal for the Wild so far this season. That's unbelievable. That depth is unreal. Especially when you have what is it? You have 12 guys on four. You have 12 forwards only, and then 18 guys skating per game. That means you have those guys who are healthy scratches every now and again coming in, and they're putting up points too. That's unbelievable.
Right. Well, and then another obviously big debate in NHL, not debate, but Austin Matthews. Can we please talk about this kid? And he's on fire.
He's just
What is it with this guy?
He might
Unreal.
What's the secret?
he might be God. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
See if he can
he's
continue this.
Well,
he's got 6 goals. He had that 4-goal performance in his first ever game, and he's second in points right now to Connor McDavid with 10. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, guys, I know we could talk about NHL, and I promise next week we'll start with NHL, but it's getting time to end the show pretty soon. But before we go, there is a ton of hockey. There's football going on in the Granite City that I want to mention to our viewers. Tonight, of course, at the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center, the St. Cloud State men's hockey team, they will host Alabama Huntsville. Tonight at 7:37 is puck drop, as well as tomorrow night, Saturday night, that puck drop will be at 7:07 again against Huntsville, Alabama, as well as the football team. They are back at Husky Stadium. They will be taking on Bemidji, and that will be a good contest. Football team is coming off a great couple wins, and Bemidji is coming off a great couple wins as well. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining me again on the show once again. We will be back next week for some more Sidelines.
At KVSC, we strive to play the best, diverse, and alternative new music.